Hello, and welcome to the new season of Design Your Life podcast. Amy's taking some time off in preparation of some beautiful new adventures for her and her family. So she will join us again later in the year when we are in the same time zone again. So we wanted to continue to bring you all of the ways that we can share in the beauty of what we've learned as women and coaches. So I'm going to continue what we started alone for now, except for the wonderful guests that we will have joining us, hopefully each week or as we can. So, right now, to kick off the new podcast season, I wanted to go solo with the story and hopefully some inspiring thoughts that I had. I truly pray that they will be inspiring to you as well. So, let's get to it. I want to tell you a story today about an unfulfilled woman. She lacked joy, boundaries, complained a lot, felt trapped and stuck in a rut. She struggled with her marriage and her teens. She was overcome with self doubt, which made her question her self worth. She was completely unable to recognize her worth, lacked dignity, and was frustrated when she tried to handle difficulties with people or situations. And she lacked the skills to manage her emotions. They would overwhelm her, made her unable to communicate effectively. And needless to say, those conversations never went well. She had a good faith life. It could always be better, but it was already working. She was already working in that direction. And so sometimes there were just questions about whether or not or how to be that woman that she was created to be. And so she just wasn't able to do one of the major things that we're instructed to do, and that is to love one another as we love ourselves. But how do you do that if you don't love yourself? Well, then you need to learn who you are, whose you are, and and begin to become that woman, right? It makes sense, doesn't it? So, funny enough, much like Cinderella, this woman met her fairy godmother, and this woman was introduced to the woman's school and coaching. But even better than Cinderella's godmother, this program was life changing, not just dress changing. Why? Well, let's look at that. Because first and foremost, she began to receive the most critical skills she was lacking through this masterclass program, and a whole new way of living was born. Mind you, it didn't happen overnight, but over many months, and she began to realize she was worth taking the time to integrate these skills. And she didn't already have them, but they became a part of her daily life, and it changed everything, which can sound contrite sometimes, but truly, when something is life changing, then there's no other way to describe it. And she started to become the woman that she wanted to be, not the woman who was reaching, sorry, sometimes I forget what I want to say. She wasn't the woman who was reacting to other people anymore. And um, the one who others may have expected her to be, or even who they thought she was. So she became a woman who controlled her emotions and controlled how she responded to people and controlled her thoughts, feelings, and boundaries, which was not easy, but it was worth every moment spent. And one of the other blessings that came out of all of that was that she learned more grace for others because they don't have these skills either. And she began to pay it forward in her desire to help other women learn and become who they desired to be, because that's truly how we are designed to live our life, right? So she discovered that she could have it all because she defined her all. And everyone's life looks different. Every one of us has a different set of gifts. And most importantly, we each have our own purpose and our own heart's desires, which are placed there. And so there comes a point where we ask ourselves just a lot of questions. And one of them is, how do we know that we are on the right path? Well, I can tell you, she is me, as if you didn't already guess that. But I wanted to share that story because yesterday was my birthday. I won't tell you how old. Someone told me I could start counting backwards, but we won't even go there either. Excuse me. So for my birthday, I received 3 cards. Well, I received more than that, but there were 3 cards that literally the wording on those cards were exactly what I needed to hear about myself. And sorry, I'm going to get a little emotional because there's nothing more powerful for me than to be told that I'm living or that people can see the person that I want to be on the outside of me because I know who I want to be. I know who I'm striving to be. And as typical women, um, we had this conversation last night, just like we tend to kind of beat ourselves up. We take on the weight of the world on our shoulders and as if we have the ability to control pretty much anything or anyone. And so those words were convicting and they showed me that my contribution that I desire is coming through. And it's not perfection, it's progression. And just um, knowing that I'm well on my way to becoming the woman that I desired to be before this. And I saw that, like, literally before this, I saw discipline as a bondage, something to break free from, rather than a gift to put what matters most truly first and to let go of what isn't serving my purpose. And so that's where my desire to help other women comes in. And so in this part of the conversation, what I would love is I know this is recorded, but you can comment below or where I post this on social media. You can also comment in those comments, whether it's Facebook or Instagram, whatever. I want to know from you, and this will take some openness and honesty and vulnerability, but vulnerability is not a bad thing. Because I want to know, does any of this resonate with you? And do you feel like you can say, I am this woman, one of the things that I said in the beginning that I was? And so, as I said before, as women and especially as mothers, we often take on that responsibility, especially as mothers, how our kids turn out. So, why do we put that on ourselves? And why does society put that on us? When has anyone truly been able to force someone to change, thrive, or grow? So, right now, if you would, I would love for you to kind of take some time because I want this to be a meaningful experience in this podcast. And I want you to reflect on some questions and maybe pause in between each one to really delve in. Um, I have had this beautiful business coach, and her Instagram is Walk Like Warriors. And something that she has taught me, which I knew before, but sometimes, it takes someone to really like lay it out for you and figure it out. But to take the time to really delve in, like don't just consume something, but really like immerse yourself in it. So that's what I'd like to do right now. And I have a bunch of questions, but it won't take long. Some of them are easier to answer than others. But if you would take the time to just kind of pause in between each one and just answer that question, journal it if you're a journaler. I know not everybody is. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. um, But I want you to think about these things. What do you want to be different in your own life right now? Would you like to have a more fulfilled marriage? Would you like to have a more fulfilling relationship with your kids? Would you like to have a different relationship with your kids? Um, do you want a different relationship with your family of origin? Those are some of the things that, off the top of my head that I can think of that some of us might desire. It's kind of a universal type thing. Or maybe there's something else. Whatever it is for you, what do you want to be different in your own life? And then my next question for you to think about is, do you want to have deeper and more meaningful relationships? Are your relationships kind of on the surface? Like if you think about your marriage, or your relationship with your kids, or your relationship with your family of origin, or your friends, even, are you authentically you? And then I want you to think about, do you do this? And if you don't, then you can move on. But if you do you beat yourself up for all of your mistakes? And if your answer is yes to that, is that something you want to continue to do? Or would you like to stop doing that to yourself? And if you do you know how to do that? How can you do that? And another question that I have for you is, do you want more meaning in your life? Like, do you question why you're here, what your purpose is? And do you question if this is all there is to life? Are you kind of stuck in the mundane of every day? And if you could, part of that comes with clarity of dreams and goals that you have, even if it's something basic. It doesn't have to be like, I want to make $1 million or I want to fly to Aruba tomorrow, but it could just be, I want a more peaceful home life, or I want to give more. So when you question if there's more to life and why you're here, also think about those things. Is there some purpose maybe that you feel is on your heart, but maybe you're not fulfilling it? And then I would also love for you to ask yourself some questions that are also thought provoking about relying on others. Do you rely on others to make you feel good about yourself? Or on the flip side of that, do you allow others to make you feel bad about yourself? And then our next question will be, are you thriving? Or are you lacking in a thriving life? Again, with the mundane, do you feel like you're just going through the motions day to day? And then on the flip side of that, do you wake up every morning excited for what the day is going to look like? Do you design your day in a way that makes you look forward to your daily life? And if you don't, do you know how to make that change? So that's going to bring me to my next question here. Do you fear change? If you think about it, do you have anxiety about everyday things? Do you have anxiety about things changing? Or even do you feel out of control when you aren't in control of something? And something that goes along with that, but also in other areas, do you feel frustrated when you can't control the behaviors of others? Whether it's your spouse, your children, your friends, your family. And do you enable bad behaviors in others if you are allowing your children to disrespect you? And then I want you to think about this also. Do you take the time to be introspective on any of these or any of the other questions? Now, I hope that you really delved into those and kind of, thought about them at least or journaled about them. Um, and then if you care to be vulnerable and share, please do feel free to do so. Or ask any questions if you have any questions. Some of the questions that I get when looking at these things is, um, how is having a coach different than having a therapist? Because I know, sometimes we go to therapy and we either see progress or we don't see progress. Because sometimes therapy is like, it's a very different thing. As a coach here, um, sometimes you need one, sometimes you need the other, sometimes you need both. And sometimes you just really need a coach because what we're here for is to help you hold yourself accountable to being who you want to be, but also helping you to learn and develop those skills that are going to help you get to that point where, you're really delving into it, because it's not that they don't, like, some therapists may give you that, but a lot of times it's more about delving into the roots and all of those things, but also, there's just not a lot of time sometimes to delve into what are the practical life skills for every single day. So, um, coaching is not like, it's not therapy. It's not meant to replace therapy. It's just basically, when you want to figure out how to do those basic things that maybe you didn't learn growing up. Maybe your family of origin didn't have those skills and didn't pass them along. So, um, we just sometimes we don't seem to be able to find the way to discipline ourselves. And we might do it for a short time, but then we kind of get ourselves upset with ourselves, or we kind of allow ourselves to get upset with ourselves because we aren't doing it perfectly. And then we just give up. But the basic premise of the discipline is to really kind of delve in and dig in so that you can change those things. And then once those things start to change, then other things will change along with it. So the reason that we talk about wholeness is because, you know, sometimes you go and you talk to somebody about, you want to lose weight or you want to get healthier, and that's a great goal. And it's part of what we do. But ultimately, it's, delving into how is it that we're not sticking to that health goal or whatever? And a lot of times we find that it lies in our ability to have a good self image where we believe in ourselves. We believe that we can do those things. And some of the ways that we do this are some of the most difficult things to actually follow through with. And that is allowing ourselves time to study, because most of us don't take the time to learn how or why we want to become the best version of ourselves, and what are the tools that will help us get there. And so you can find the answer to these questions and many more by getting on a discovery call with me. And so I offer those because I want women to be able to delve into, where are those areas that I need a little more skill in order for me to thrive? Because ultimately, it's been said many times, and our founder, January, of the Women's School, she absolutely is so spot on. And this, what resonated most with me is that overwhelmed is underskilled, because that was me. I was that overwhelmed woman and I didn't know how to change it, fix it, or do anything different. And I just knew that I didn't want to get up early. I didn't want to be disciplined. I didn't want to do all those things because I thought that it would be like so restrictive. And yet it was the most freeing thing in the world when I opened up and embraced it, because I got to design what that looked like. And so I'm committed to bringing the ability to become a new woman to every woman in 2025. And I want to see us all stop looking back at the end of every year and saying, oh, I really wanted to do something different this year, or I really wanted to stick to this or that this year. So if you've been doing that and it hasn't been working for you, I strongly encourage you to reach out to me and let's get together to talk about how you can be that disciplined woman, how you can be that new woman. And this time next year, you'll be bringing your friends along with you because it will be such a life-changing experience. And so I just invite you to, like I said, reach out to me, but also to think about these things. If you need to go back and listen again to this, I encourage you to do that too, because those questions, regardless of whether or not you come to me and talk to me about them, they can really help you to just kind of delve further into creating because we can write down all of our goals for the new year, but we've got to have a plan. We got to have a plan of action. And sometimes we don't have the skills, and sometimes we don't hold ourselves accountable to that change that we want to see in ourselves. So I look forward to helping you. I look forward to just praying for you and working with you. So take care and God bless. I hope you all have a very Merry Christmas and a blessed new year. And if you want to join me, I forgot to mention that I will have an orientation, which is a no obligation thing. The discovery call can happen anytime, the week after Christmas or on January 6th. It's Epiphany for us Catholics. And I thought that that was a really appropriate day to kind of give everyone the ability to have an epiphany and say, what if this is my year to become the best version of myself? So give me a call or comment below, talk to me however you want to, but let's work together on this. And I challenge you to give yourself that skill, that ability, and the grace to believe that you are worth taking the time to invest in. Take care and God bless.